friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dom. If you are new here, first off I want to start by saying Happy New Year. We're in 2023, new beginnings, fresh beginnings. I took some time off between the holidays and I am back, and I am so excited to get the year started. So for today's video, I am going to be doing my 2022 like wrap up, like all the books that I read in 2022. I feel like this is all the books that I read. I'm not sure. I know I purchased more books, but I didn't get to them or finish them yet. But these are the main things that I read. So I only read 11 books this past year. My goal is to usually read about 12 books or so, which usually ends up being like an average of one a month. I definitely want to step up my reading goals in 2023. I've started a bullet journal, all of that. Like I want to track and things of that nature. So at some point in time, I'll show you guys my bullet journal and how I'm tracking what I'm reading. But let's just go ahead and get into this. So I have a stack, and I'm just going to be pulling from the stack. I'm going to read the back covers off to you guys because some of these books, like, I get the gist, but I don't know. Sometimes my explanation is way more confusing. So I'm just going to read off the back cover. So this one was The Inheritance Game, and I ended up liking this one about 3.5 out of 5 stars. This one wasn't terrible. I thought it was an interesting book enough, but let me just read you the back. Avery Grams has a plan for a better future, survive high school, win a scholarship, and get out. But her luck changes in an instant when billionaire Tobias Hawthorne dies and leaves her virtually his entire fortune. The only catch, Avery must move into his sprawling mansion full of secret passages, riddles, and codes. Unfortunately for Avery Hawthorne, house is also occupied by the family that was just disinherited. This includes the 4 Hawthorne grandsons, dangerous, magnetic boys who grew up with every expectation that one day they would inherit billions. Heir apparent Grayson is convinced that Avery is a con woman, and he's determined to take her down, but his brother Jameson views her as their grandfather's last hurrah. A twisted riddle, a puzzle to be solved, caught in a world of wealth and privilege with danger around every turn. Avery will have to play the game herself just to survive. So I would say this one was probably about like a 3.5 to 4 stars. This one was pretty good. I liked it. I think it was just like different from kind of anything that I've read in a long time. So I think I ranked it lower just because it wasn't necessarily anything that I was like, I don't know. It just wasn't like in my mood reading. I mood read a lot, so I think this was just different from my mood when I read it. But it was pretty good, and I actually have the second book, so I do need to finish the second book in 2023, and the third book I do believe is out as well. But this one wasn't bad, and I enjoyed it. I like the premise of the storyline, and I can't wait to see what happens in the second one, because the first one was a roller coaster ride, that is for sure. It was a roller coaster. So this was a fun one to read though. I think it was pretty lighthearted. This would be a perfect read if you just need to, I don't know, get out of a funk. I think this would be a cute, fun read, and yeah, I don't know, I liked it. Okay, this next book is one that I absolutely adored, but I didn't love the plot twist at the end, and this was The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. The end this would have been 5 stars for me if the end wouldn't have done a plot twist, so I did go ahead and give this one a 4-star rating. This was amazing. So pretty much this lady, she lives on this lake, and this, like, I don't know if they're newlyweds, but this couple, they move across the lake, and she ends up saving the lady that moves across the lake. But then she starts like people watching them, and she just figures out that like not everything is as it seems, and things go left really, really fast, and it's pretty much amazing. So let me just read you what the inside says. Be careful what you watch for. Casey Fletcher, a recently widowed actress trying to escape a streak of bad press, has retreated to the peace and quiet of her family's lake house in Vermont. Armed with a pair of binoculars and several bottles of bourbon, she passes the time watching Tom and Catherine Royce, the glamorous couple living in the house across the lake. They make for good viewing. A tech innovator, Tom is powerful and a former model. Catherine is gorgeous. One day on the lake, Casey saves Catherine from drowning, and the two strike up a budding friendship. But The more they get to know each other and the longer Casey watches, the more it becomes clear that Catherine and Tom's marriage isn't as perfect as it appears. When Catherine suddenly vanishes, Casey immediately suspects Tom of foul play. What she doesn't realize is that there's more to the story than meets the eye, and that shocking secrets can lurk beneath the most placid of surfaces, packed with sharp characters, psychological suspense, and gasp-worthy plot twists. Yeah, so pretty much. So yeah, that is pretty much the premise of this. I will definitely say I really liked the route that this book was going on, but I'd probably say like the last 50 pages is when it was just like, what? You're just like, this doesn't make sense. So I know a lot of people have like either like this or like absolutely hate this book, but for me, I thought it was fun. I thought it was a good book to read. I had never read any of Riley Sager's books before, but I'm interested in if he comes out with any more books. I know a lot of people like some of his older books that he has, like Final Girls. I know people really love Final Girls, or Lock Every Door, and he's got a couple of them. Anyway, so this one was by far probably like one of my favorites because I'm starting to get into thriller books, and this one I feel like is going to be a good thriller for you because you're just like, what is going to happen next? What is going on? This is craziness. This is crazy. But this was definitely my favorite book, I think, honestly, truly, of 2022. Okay, the next book I read was A Court of Frost and Starlight. I'm tongue twisted. I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning. I went to work and now it is 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so I'm a little tired. But the next book I read is A Court of Frost and Starlight, and I don't know which book this is. I want to say this is the fourth book in the ACOTAR series by Sarah J. Maas. So yeah, I don't really want to read the back of this one just because I don't want to just spoil the other books, but go read A Court of Thorns and Roses. This is pretty much just like after the war that has happened in the previous book. It's just telling you about like how they're getting back to normal, and things of that nature. So this one I would say was a 4-star. It wasn't anything too crazy. Like, it was just pretty, like, I think it was just more so of like a filler for me. So I read through this really quickly, but it wasn't terrible. It just wasn't anything to write home about, but the writing wasn't bad. The book wasn't terrible. It's just they're rebuilding right now in this one. So yeah, but I'm needing to read A Court of Silver and Flames, and that book is so long. It's almost 800 pages if it isn't 800 pages, so I'm not in a rush to finish that yet. Okay, this one was one that I was like, I read this book and I was like, plot twist, and it ends with us with Colleen Hoover. I really did enjoy this book. However, there are definitely some trigger warnings that you need to look up if you do plan on reading this. This took a turn in a direction I did not see it going, but it's okay. It's a-okay. So it says, Lily hasn't always had it easy, but that's never stopped her from working hard for the life she wants. She's come a long way from a small town in Maine where she grew up. She graduated from college, moved to Boston, started her own business. So when she feels a spark with a gorgeous neurosurgeon named Ryle Kincaid, everything in Lily's life suddenly seems almost too good to be true. Ryle is assertive, stubborn, maybe even a little arrogant. He's also sensitive, brilliant, and has a total soft spot for Lily. But Ryle's complete aversion to relationships is disturbing. As questions about her new relationship overwhelm her, so do thoughts of Atlas Corrigan, her first love, and a link to the past that she left behind. He was her kindred spirit, her protector. When Atlas suddenly reappears, everything Lily has built with Ryle is threatened. With this bold and deeply personal novel, Colleen Hoover delivers a heart-wrenching story that breaks exciting new ground for her as a writer. And that is the end of the book. So as you can see, I tabbed it, and I have a lot of tabs. So the pink ones are like, I guess, things that I liked. I think the orange ones were important. The yellow tab, I don't remember what I put for the yellow tab, and then the blue ones are usually sad ones. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And the purple ones, I don't know what the purple ones stood for. I don't remember what the purple tabs were, but anyway. Anyway, I don't really know what the purple one was, but yeah, I definitely really enjoyed this one, and I wanted to tab this one because I know this is one of her most popular books that she has written, and it was good. I did really like it, and now she has It Starts With Us that she just released recently, and I do need to read that one as well because this story does continue. So I want to see how that ends up panning out with her love interest at the time. This one I cried, and I don't know if I gave this one. This one I would give it 5 stars. This one I gave 5 stars because it was good. It was good. You just need to read the trigger warning. So, okay. Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. This, I cried. I cried reading the last few pages of this. I remember we were going out to dinner, and I was reading this in the car because it was a pretty decent drive, and I was just like getting teary-eyed at the end. But this one was good, and it was some of her books are like so sad and like emotional, like, but they're good though, you know. And I know some people like have their issues with Miss Colleen and her writing, but if you want to be hit in the feels, read some of Colleen's books. They're gonna do it every time. Okay, so this one is after serving for 5 years in prison for a tragic mistake, Kenna Rowan returns to the town where it all went wrong, hoping to reunite with her 4-year-old daughter, but the bridges Kenna burned are proving impossible to rebuild. Everyone in her daughter's life is determined to shut Kenna out, no matter how hard she works to prove herself. The only person who hasn't closed the door on her completely is Ledger Ward, a local bar owner and one of the few remaining links to Kenna's daughter. But if anyone were to discover how Ledger is slowly becoming an important part of Kenna's life, both would risk losing the trust of everyone important to them. The two form a connection despite the pressure surrounding them, but as their romance grows, so does the risk. Kenna must find a way to absolve the mistakes of her past in order to build a future out of hope and healing. When I tell you, this book just hits you in the feels in all the ways, and you just like see this character like working to like be a mom, and she's just not given the opportunity to. You're just like, come on, like please, 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 please. Like she's proven herself. She's doing the thing. Like she's doing everything she possibly can. This one's a good one. It's a good one. I really like this one a lot, and I think she did a great job at it. So I gave this one a 5 stars as well. Because I usually don't cry reading books, but this one definitely does hit you. It gets you because it's already like a very emotional book anyway, like starting from the beginning. Like it's just hard. It's just hard topics, and I like how she kind of like writes about real stuff that happens, you know, like these could be real situations, and this is a real situation that just happened to someone, I'm sure. So I like that. So it was just nice to read something good. Okay, this was another book. No, this one is like a different topic, but this one is by Elena Armas. This one is The Spanish Love Deception, and people love this book. I did really like this book, and I thought it was really cute. However, I felt like this book was almost a little too long. It was 400 and something pages. I want to say like the first 100 to 150, maybe 200 max pages were just a little slow for me. But pretty much this girl named Catalina, she needs a date to her sister's wedding, and her ex-fiance, like ex-boyfriend, ex-fiance, I don't remember which one he is in the book, is going to be attending this wedding. And she needs a wedding date, and so she pretty much ends up getting stuck going to this wedding with someone from her job that she absolutely cannot stand. And she thinks he's arrogant, she thinks he's a terrible person, and they go to this wedding, and then of course, you know, enemies to lover trope. This was good. I would definitely give this one a 4 stars just because I did feel like it was really long, and I feel like the first, like I said, 100 to 150 pages were just a little slow. But this was a fun read, and I did start to tab it. I didn't tab all the way through, but I did tab it a little bit. And then I think...
Good baby.
Hi, Mommy.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. But yeah, so I did tab this one. Oh, my feet. This one was a first read from Ali Hazelwood, but this is the Love Hypothesis. Since this book, I think she's released 3 other books. So, yeah. Alright, let's get into this. As a third-year PhD candidate, Olive Smith doesn't believe in lasting romantic relationships, but her best friend does, and that's what got her into this situation. Convincing Anne that Olive is dating and well on her way to a happily ever after was always going to take more than hand-wavy Jedi mind tricks. Scientists require proof, so like any self-respecting biologist, Olive panics and kisses the first man she sees. That man is none other than Adam Carlson, a young hotshot professor and well-known booty hole, which is why Olive is positively floored when Stanford's reigning lab tyrant agrees to keep her charade a secret and be her fake boyfriend. And when a big science conference goes haywire, putting Olive's career on the Bunsen burner, Adam surprises her again with his unyielding support, even more unyielding six-pack abs. Suddenly, their little experiment feels dangerously close to combustion, and Olive discovers that the only thing more complicated than a hypothesis on love is putting her own heart under the microscope. This was a cute read, this was a fun read, and I liked it because all of her books pretty much feature like women in STEM. They're like STEM related books, and my sister is in STEM, so she really likes reading her books, and I thought it was cute. And I think it also just like really does speak to like women in STEM, how like some women are treated differently, and how they're like, you can only like advance if you do certain things or get certain favors from people. So I don't know, it was really good. I would give this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars, and I can't wait to read some of her other books that she has just recently released. I know my sister read the light pink one. I don't remember the name of the light pink one, but she read that and she really enjoyed it. So I liked it a lot, and it was worth the hype. So 10 out of 10, highly recommend that one. And we only have 4 books left, you guys. Let's get into it. This one, and I think The House Across the Lake, I think were my top 2 books, to be honest with you. I don't know. No, I don't know. I can't even say that because these 3. So this next book, I have like 3 top books, okay? But this one is Verity by Colleen Hoover. 5 out of 5 stars. 5 out of 5 stars. I love this. Colleen Hoover should start writing thrillers. Let me know if you're team manuscript or if you're team Verity, okay? Because this book is crazy. It is intense, for sure. It is not for the faint of heart. The first page is a little chaotic, okay? So definitely make sure that you read trigger warnings for all of your books, but especially Colleen Hoover books, because her books can be a little heavy on topics, okay? So pretty much, let's just roll into this. Lowen Ashley is a struggling writer on the brink of financial ruin when she accepts the job offer of a lifetime. Jeremy Crawford, husband of a best-selling author, has hired Lowen to complete the remaining books in a successful series his injured wife is unable to finish. Lowen arrives at the Crawford home ready to sort through years of Verity's notes and outlines, hoping to find enough material to get her started. What she doesn't expect to uncover in the chaotic office is an unfinished autobiography Verity never intended for anyone to read. Page after page of bone-chilling admissions, including Verity's recollection of the night her family was forever altered. So, yeah, it gets crazy real fast. It's crazy. But I liked this one, and I did tab this. I think I just tabbed it with like things that I thought were important, and apparently there was enough. So yeah, this book is good. It's creepy, and it's just like, are any of the characters good in this book? Probably not. Like, every character that you're introduced to, you're like, you're not so good. Neither are you, and neither are you. You just find out at different points in time. But this was good. 5 out of 5 stars, 10 out of 10. Highly recommend it if you want a thriller. This is probably my favorite Colleen Hoover book she's ever written, to be honest, that I've read. It was good. It was that good. As you can see, I'm getting into thrillers because my next one's also a thriller, and this one is The Wife Upstairs. Alright, so meet Jane. Newly arrived to Birmingham, Alabama, Jane is a broke dog walker, in Thornfield Estates, a gated community full of McMansions, shiny SUVs, and bored housewives. The kind of place where no one will notice if Jane lifts the discarded, like, jewelry off the side tables of her well-heeled clients. Where no one will think to ask if Jane is even her real name. Meet Eddie. Recently widowed, he has become Thornfield Estate's most mysterious resident. Ever since his wife, Bea, drowned in a boating accident with her best friend, their bodies lost to the deep, Jane can't help but see an opportunity in Eddie. Not only is he rich, brooding, and handsome, but he could also offer her the kind of protection she craves. Yet, as the two fall for each other, Jane is haunted by the legend of Bea, an ambitious beauty and successful entrepreneur with a rags to riches origin story. How can she, plain Jane, ever measure up? And can Jane win Eddie's heart before her past or his catches up with her? This book was really good because, like, you know about the dead wife, and you start to, like, unfold and, like, see the story of, like, that night that this lady and her friend died, and you're just like, oh, that's crazy. And then you get to look into Eddie's past, and you get to look into Jane's past, and you get to look into, like, the friends around them, and like in this gated community, you're just like, everybody has issues, and like everybody has their own secrets, and that truly is what this book is about. And I loved it. It was definitely a page turner for me. I think you hit page 50 and the book just like takes off. It soars. It is amazing. I really liked it. I do think that there are a few little not plot issues, but I definitely think there's a few little like holes in the story. And also, like, the ending, I don't like the way that it ended, because I want there to either be a second book to figure out what happened at the end of everything, or for it to wrap up nicely and we get a definitive answer about what happened. So yeah, it does leave you on a little bit of a cliffhanger once you start getting into it, but I did like it a lot, and I would read it again, and I would still recommend it. I feel like, even though with certain like small issues, I still think it was a good book, so I would give it a 4 out of 5 stars. The next one, I don't remember reading, like, I remember reading this one, but I don't remember my thoughts exactly on it, so I'm going to give this one a 3 out of 5 stars, because this one was a little confusing. This one is Fredrik Backman's Anxious People. Alright, looking at real estate isn't usually a life or death situation, but an apartment open house becomes just that when a failed bank robber bursts in and takes a group of 8 strangers hostage. Each of them carries a lifetime of grievances, hurts, secrets, and passions that are ready to boil over. None of them is entirely who they appear to be. In short, they are the worst group of hostages in the world. But as the minutes tick by, they begin to suspect that the criminal mastermind holding them hostage might be in more need of rescuing than they are. As the authorities and the media surround the premises, these reluctant allies will reveal surprising truths about themselves and set in motion a chain of events so unexpected that even they can hardly explain what happens next. I really like this for that reason, because all these people are in this situation, and you know, like, they always like say, you know, like their last words before death, they're like admitting everything that, you know, their troubles, like their issues, their secrets, things of that nature. They're admitting these things to these strangers that they don't know, and they form like a bond and a connection, and they like take care of each other. And I think that is like something that is so amazing. And like, it dealt with some hard stuff, you know, dealt with some hard things, it dealt with some heavy topics, and I definitely think that is something that you should be aware of, because there are trigger warnings that you should read for this one. But I like books that are sometimes just kind of hit you in the feels. They're not always like these unrealistic things. Like, the things that they're talking about are issues that people deal with on an everyday basis, and I just really love when books really capture that, and I think that book was very well done, so I would give it 4 out of 5 stars for sure. And the last book that I read in 2022 that I know of was The X Talk. So pretty much this one is about 2 talk show hosts. Their show is getting canceled, and one of the talk show hosts, she ends up throwing out a thing like, let's do a X dating show, or like a dating show or something like that. And they end up taking her, they're like, oh, that's actually a really good idea. So the person that she hates most, you know, of course, the enemies to lovers trope, they ended up hosting the show called the X Talk. So they have to come up with like this lie about like how, like, you know, how long they did, like their relationship, yada yada yada, like why they broke up, and they talk about issues in relationships and everything until everything is questioned, when fans start writing in like, is this even real, like things of that nature. So they have to keep it pretty like not like they can't be too lovey-dovey with each other, because they've never dated, and over time they do start to like each other, so people start to question that. So all of that gets brought up in this book, and it was a fun read, it was a cute read, and I liked it a lot. So I did give this book 4 out of 5 stars. Most of the books I do have booked like wrap-up videos for, so maybe check some of my wrap-ups, I don't remember. But yeah, this was the last one, and I didn't read an overly large TBR this past year, but I do want to read more in the next one. So if you guys are interested in bookish content, please give this video a huge thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Let me know your book recommendations down in the comment section below. Let me know what you're reading currently, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, friends.